There's no sports league unlike it anywhere in the world, where cartoons and football come together. This is the United States Cartoon Football League, celebrating its 40th anniversary.
Meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Stone Age family. From the town of Bedrock, they're a page right out of history. Let's ride with the family down the street, through the courtesy of Fred to Pete. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba-dabba-doo time, a dabba-doo time, we'll have a gay old time. Meet George Jetson, his boy Elroy, daughter Judy, Jane, his wife,
Greetings, cartoon and football fans, and especially fans of classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon series. This is Bob Mozark of the USCFL Network, welcoming you to the Flintstones versus the Jetsons episode runoff. For 12 weeks, we are pitting one randomly selected episode of each show. The episodes chosen are how they appear in our library in alphabetical order. We will be running the Flintstones Jetsons Challenge while we wait for new episodes of Masters of the Universe Revelation to be aired. As always, we're using football scoring to rate each episode. As we go into round 2, the Jetsons have a slim lead over the Flintstones by a score of 7-6. After a brief pause, we will begin round 2 of the Flintstones versus the Jetsons episode runoff. The Flintstones, Season 3, Episode 3, Barney the Invisible. Fred attempts to cure Barney's hiccups by giving him the latest soft drink concoction that he has been testing in his garage. It cures Barney's hiccups, but turns him invisible. When Fred is unable to restore Barney's visibility, they decide to go see a doctor. Along the way, they stop at a bowling alley to think about the situation. While there, Fred is mocked by his bowling nemesis, Blowhard Sandstone. Barney suggests that they use his invisibility to teach Sandstone a lesson, and Fred happily agrees. With Barney's helping hand, Fred rolls a perfect game, and that leaves Sandstone, who has mostly thrown gutter balls, in tears. The doctor is unable to help Barney, but after they return home, the potion wears off. The Jetsons, Season 3, Episode 1, Crime Games. It is the weekend, and Jane and Judy are using an automatic knitting machine. Elroy is excited to watch his favorite cops and robbers show, Hill Space Blues. George has just completed 62 hours of after-hours work given to him by Mr. Spacely when Astro's flying ball hits the workstation and deletes the report. When Astro takes the electronic ball over to the TV, it changes the channel to view criminal boss, the Gridfather, and his henchmen as they plan to rob Cogswell Coggs. George attempts to report the intended crime, but the police are not interested, and Mr. Spacely does not want to interfere with Gridfather's plot against Spacely Sprockets, his main competitor. Even Mr. Cogswell does not believe George. Jane convinces George to take Elroy and attempt to foil the robbery himself. George and Elroy break into Cogswell Coggs, but George is captured by the security robots and sent to jail. Meanwhile, the Gridfather has observed this and decides to break George out of jail and use him as a patsy for a robbery of Spacely Sprockets. George goes to Spacely and gets hired to replace George. Jane goes to Mr. Spacely and gets hired to replace George. Jane and Rudy the computer stop the robbery of Spacely Sprockets and, using the knitting machine, capture the Gridfather. Elroy's recording proves George's innocence. We will now briefly pause before returning with the scores and wrap-up.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless flight. And I think it's gonna be long.
Wrap up. The Flintstones, Barney the Invisible, is an excellent episode for that show, and Fred for once was not a complete idiot. Betty doing her laundry with the help of a mammoth and a seal was amusing. The bowling game was also funny. This was also the first episode that used lyrics for the opening theme song. I give this episode a 7. The Jetsons Crime Games is an average episode of that program. George is his useless, hapless self, bullied by his boss and resignedly following his wife's leadership, even taking Elroy with him to stop the Gridfather's crimes. I only give it a 3. As always, viewers are welcome to submit their own reviews and scores. This is Bob Mozart from the USCFL Network, signing off until next week.